Welcome back, everyone. So, quite the unusual case. This all occurred in Warsaw, in Poland. A department store containing many mannequins was closing down for the night. And they didn't happen to notice that one of the mannequins was a little bit different to the others. It was, in fact, a very inventive criminal who was posing as a mannequin in the store window, hoping no one would see him, and actually that worked. His intention was to wait until the store was closed and then browse around and take his pick of anything he wanted to steal. I guess the strange thing about it is that nobody recognized that he wasn't a mannequin, even though he had a beard and he was kind of rotund. So he looked extremely different to the sort of standard mannequin shapes. But he was caught. They did put him on trial, and he could be facing up to a 10-year prison sentence. So they were certainly not laughing about this brazen criminal. But he should get some points at least for creative effort.
Yeah. Time off for creativity, if only that was a thing.
It reminds me of a movie I saw once, like an 80s movie, I think, called Mannequin.
Oh.
But it's not a thief, it's an actual mannequin that turns into a real woman, and a man falls in love with her.
Oh, it's like Pinocchio, but not a boy.
Yes.
And made of wood.
I suppose so, yes. Ooh, the female Pinocchio story.
The female Pinocchio story.
Anyway, yes, you can check it out. And it turns out that wasn't the only break-in over this year. There was an interesting one reported in Oklahoma, where they found a guy, there was a hole in the ceiling, and they thought, why is there a hole in the ceiling of our store? And they looked up there, and there was a guy sleeping on one of the beams. And they thought maybe he was going to rob the place, but it turned out he was just homeless and looking for a warm place to sleep. So he wasn't charged with robbery, because he hadn't stolen anything, just fell asleep in a warm spot.
Stolen those Z's.
Yes, it stole the Z's. Okay, so some pretty unusual break-ins that we discovered in this article, but let's discuss a few questions. I guess you mentioned that in part one, in the US, perhaps breaking and entering, robbery, burglary is a bit more common than in Korea.
Yeah, I think so.
So, do you think jewelry stores in your country usually have very strong security?
Typically, I think, I don't know if it's any stronger than any other store, depending on the area. If it is a jewelry store in an area that's more known for robberies, they might have bars on the windows, like a sort of lock system where they can push a button and all the doors lock down and windows to not allow the thief to leave. But yeah, I would say it's could be a little bit more strict. In the past, of course, in America, with the history of guns, some of the ways to defend yourself was with a gun. However, those days are pretty much over with a lot of lawsuits that have come out and like different rules out there and stuff. Or it's not homeowners, store owners pretty much just try to get the police involved rather these days. But yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say it's super special. It's just your standard lock the doors.
I see. Fair enough. I remember when I went back to England earlier this year, I did feel a bit of shock and surprise when it was sort of shop closing time, which is a lot earlier than in Korea. And I was seeing all the stores had the huge shutters, metal shutters. So yeah, jewelry stores didn't look special.
Yeah,
I feel like
anymore.
Every store had what seemed to me very strong protection all over it. So
yeah,
unlike
need
Korea.
it. Unlike Korea, I see shutters in the subway. That's about it.
So if there is really strong security and they have all these shutters and bars and everything, do you think it would be possible to remain undetected inside the store, for example, by imitating a mannequin?
In Korea?
I guess anywhere.
Actually, the thing I think about is anyone passing by is going to notice that's not a mannequin. They're also not going to care Like, oh, it's going to be like some TikTok thing or some, promotional event, or, oh, that's interesting. Someone in New York is pretending to be a mannequin. I see that literally everywhere. So they're going to pass on by. Now, the employees working super hard, maybe not being paid enough, they're going to be getting things done as quick as possible and getting out of there, and they might not notice someone standing in the center of the whole store. They just might be like, oh, yeah, and keep on going. So it is possible, but if any of the employees did notice them, they would say something, obviously, but it just depends.
Yeah. I guess even if you're successful, it's not, you're in the store, but then how do you get out? If it's all, really super high security.
Yeah. You get what you need, and then when they open up in the morning, they walk through the door, and then you just...
I suppose you perhaps pretend you were an early customer.
Yeah,
exactly. But then why don't you just be an early customer?
Because then you can't take it.
These criminals, yes, they need to come up with better ideas.
Obviously, 10 years.
Okay, so let's be brazen, let's be bold, and let's loot the vocabulary system for all that treasure. Yes, gold. There's a gold mine in the vocabulary section today, and it's all for you guys. No security whatsoever.
No.
Free for you. Take a while to study it and come back and see us in the next one. Bye-bye.
Brazen.
Brazen.
Awry.
Awry.
Loot.
Loot.
Embolden.
Embolden.
Quit while one is ahead.
Quit while one is ahead.